giving you a voice.
Making it loud our own way.
Welcome to the fun.
All right, let's jump into our first topic, our experiences in first. So let's start with, how did everyone get into first? Katie, would you like to start us off?
Absolutely. So my parents have coached first teams since I was around 2 years old. So I always grew up exposed to different first teams and first programs. And I knew that as soon as I was old enough, I wanted to get involved. So the second I was old enough, I joined the first LEGO League team, and I really haven't looked back. My involvement has just grown since then.
That's awesome. I know that I got involved in first at a really young age as well. I started on a junior FLL team at my local elementary school, and I just loved building with Legos, so I progressed all the way through the program and grew up with the Green Girls.
Super awesome. Yeah, so how I got involved in first is Minneapolis, where I'm from, has a program in all the schools where they have like FLL, and you basically just get like randomly paired with your team. And I started in 4th grade because it just sounded pretty cool to me. And then I think in my second year of first, I got randomly paired with people who are now my teammates, which was super awesome. So we've been a team for a really long time now. But I remember when I really got interested in first was at a regional tournament for FLL. There was an FTC team that was demoing their robot. And we didn't even know FTC existed at this point, but we saw them there and we thought it looked super, super cool. And then we went and we visited the FTC state tournament that year, and we just thought it looked so amazing that we had to join, and we really wanted to try it out.
That's an awesome story. How about you, Madeline?
So I actually started like later than most of you probably. My younger sister, she wanted to start an FLL team, and I didn't really know what it was. But then once everyone was working in my basement, I was like, wow, this is really cool. Look at all these robots. I want to do that too. So I quickly joined the team and then have been, participating in first competitions ever since.
That's amazing. All right. Why did everyone start or join an all-girls team?
I mean, in my case, so the program that I was talking about for FLL teams in Minneapolis is called Gems and Guys. So they put you on all girls or all boys teams. And the reason that we're still an all girls team, to be honest, is just because we liked the group of people we were with and we could work super well together. And it's really just mostly been about that we're all really close friends, and it doesn't have so much to do with the gender. But it definitely also, it's awesome to see that as an all girls team, how we can help other girls in STEM as well. So that's definitely a big part of our mission as well.
That's great.
So when I joined 3595, we actually weren't an all-girls team. We were a co-ed team for our first 7 years or so of competing, and then it just naturally happened that as members graduated out and others joined, we became an all-girls team. So it wasn't something that we necessarily set out to do. It just worked out that way, that right now that's who's interested in being on the team. So I've kind of had both different experiences, and I've really enjoyed them both.
Yeah, I was on a co-ed FLL team, and interestingly, a co-ed VEX team. So was off of first randomly for like a year doing FLL and VEX at the same time. But there was a previous member of the FLL team had moved on to the all-girls FTC team. And when they were doing applications, they kind of put in a special word like, oh, we know her. And she was really good in FLL. So then I got to join the FTC team. And it's been really great being on an all-girls team.
That's awesome. My story is kind of similar to yours, Madeline. I joined a co-ed FLL team, and originally, a lot of the times the guys kind of like pushed me to do some of the presentation stuff. So I asked my mom one day, can we start an all-girls team? So we paired up with Thomson Reuters in our local area, and they sponsored us, and we started a team that way. And we've kind of always just stuck with being an all-girls team because we've created such great bonds within ourselves, and we just enjoy the opportunities we get. We've also had a guy on our team for 1 year, which was awesome as well. He brought a lot of great things to our team, and we are happy that he joined. But we're all girls again, so that's just kind of the way we've been. All right, moving on. What do you guys think are the benefits of being on an all-female team? Are there any disadvantages as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think our team has definitely experienced pretty equally the benefits and disadvantages. I mean, sometimes we do have really cool experiences. I definitely remember at some FTC tournaments, this group of girls came up to us and was talking about how it was so cool that we were doing robotics when we were older, and it's really great to see things like that happen. But we also definitely do see some discrimination and things like that in the judging process and at tournaments. Well, especially a lot of times parents coming up to us telling us how they wish they had girls on their team to do the notebook and things like that, which can be really frustrating because girls can do anything they want to in FTC. It can be the notebook, it can be more technical stuff, whatever.
Definitely agree with you.
Things like that. And also like in judging, we get asked all the time why we're an all-girls team. And we really just want to talk about what we do as a team and not who makes up our team and things like that. So when we're talking about, I remember specifically, like we were talking about how a lot of our outreach is about bringing more equality in STEM and in FTC and FIRST specifically. And judges were so confused how we could be an all-girls team and still be doing that. But it's really more about the work that we do that was important to us.
I agree with you. We've experienced some of those same things before where in judging sessions, they'll be like, why don't you have any boys on your team? And I think the best way to answer that is just be like, we're not against boys. We work with boys all the time. It's just that this is the way that our team kind of is formed. And like, we'd be welcome to adding anyone who wants to be a part of FIRST.
I do think that one of the advantages to all girls teams, generally speaking, is that they can be a lot more accessible for girls looking to get involved in FIRST or in STEM, because especially as girls are getting older, there can be kind of that disparity where they feel like if they haven't already been doing STEM stuff, then it can be hard to get involved because other people can feel so far ahead of where they are. And so I think all girls teams are really great for that reason, because it can help to at least lower that feeling of disparity in levels of knowledge and create a really great pathway for girls to get involved in FIRST and STEM. So that's one of my favorite-ish parts of generally all girls teams and what they can add to FIRST and to individuals' experiences.
Some advantages that I've definitely seen is like you do have that real sense of community with all the other girls, and you don't feel as much, at least what I've seen, that you're competing for a certain role. Because I know a lot of times on co-ed teams, girls are marginalized into the less technical roles, such as notebook, motivate, connect. And it's something that definitely WAGS totally enjoys doing, and that's where we get a lot of our recognition from. But being able to show that we're a team that, as all girls, can still be both technical and also win awards for things like the notebook and the outreach that you do is definitely important. And I think that that's one of the main problems of being on an all-girls team, that if we're getting awards for things like the notebook or for our outreach, people start to consider you as more of a quote-unquote awards team rather than a technical team or a team that is good for their robot design or for their programming.
I could not agree more with that. I think something that's really important for everyone to keep in mind is that all teams are just teams, whether we're all girls teams or not. We're all, in FIRST for the same reasons, whether we're focusing on awards, focusing on robot, or both. The team is made up of the individuals. The team isn't just a quote unquote all girls team. There's always so much more that goes into the team than that.
I agree with you both. Those are very well said statements. Do you guys have any like suggestions of girls or for girls that are like nervous getting into FTC, like for like how to get in there and like assert their position on a team?
I would say it's natural to be nervous. Of course, you're going to be nervous if you're trying something new, but try to overcome that and do it anyway. Because if that girl has already done FIRST Lego League or another FIRST program before, she knows how absolutely incredible FIRST is. There are so many experiences that you can have through any involvement with a FIRST team. And if you're able to overcome that initial barrier of overcoming the anxiety of joining and get involved, there are so many incredible things that you will be able to do and so many incredible people who you will be able to meet. So it's absolutely worthwhile. So the best I can say is just try to do it, even though it is nerve-wracking. Right. So, and the picture that's up on the screen right now is actually of a demonstration that my team did over the past weekend at a Black Girls Code event. And that can be another really great way to get involved with FIRST, is if there are teams in your area doing demonstrations or the like, you can have those conversations with teams who are specifically targeting getting girls and women involved in STEM and in FIRST. And so that can also be a really great way to get involved and to overcome the challenges of initially joining.
Yeah, just to piggyback off that idea, our team has also done a bunch of activities like that too. And we found it's easier to get girls involved if they like have a friend to come with them to make it feel more comfortable too. So we've set up this activity called Girls Robotics Rush, where we bring a bunch of middle school girls in and we show them every single aspect of robotics, from programming to community outreach to writing in the engineering notebook and building. That way they get to see a little bit of every part of FIRST while being in their comfort zone as well, which is really important for younger girls. Sometimes they underestimate themselves and they don't think that they can do all the things we do in robotics, which is totally untrue. Everyone has the capabilities to do what every girl on the screen does in FIRST.
Yeah, I think that's super true. I definitely think another thing that's really important, which is it's sometimes really hard to do, is put yourself out there and try all the different kinds of roles you can in FIRST and FTC. It's really easy to get just pushed to doing like the notebook or the more businessy stuff, but make sure you try everything. And I mean, that's the way that I found like the things that I really love about FIRST, which is some of them are more on the technical side. And I think just putting yourself out there, making sure you try everything is super important.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. Like, don't be discouraged by a certain part of the robotics competition. Like, if you're worried about programming because it looks difficult, because Java is something that you haven't tried before, that shouldn't discourage you. You should do what you're interested in. And if you're interested in programming, if you're interested in learning CAD, if you're interested in building, you should really try whatever interests you, whatever intrigues you, and stop thinking about like if it will be difficult and if there are other people on your team who are already doing it who are probably better than you, because you're always going to have a chance to like show your work on the team.
Totally agree with that. Let's address one of the questions that came up in the chat. So the question is, what is a way to market your robotics program as something everyone can do? They said they have very few girls joining. I LAN 1375 to ask this question.
So I think it really depends on the team as to how the best way it is to market yourself to get more girls involved. But make it clear that you are going to be a welcoming environment and a good team to be on as a woman in STEM. Make sure that, you know, when you're doing demonstrations, when you're talking about recruitment, that you're being really inclusive. And even from before you have many girls on your team, you are making those efforts as if you already were, you know, 50-50. And also, I would say you can do outreach events specifically targeted to getting girls on your team, but that definitely isn't necessary. That's only one way to do it. As long as you are being inclusive and, you know, not excluding girls, as long as you are actively working to get everyone involved, I think it will happen naturally.
I'm just gonna say it the way
yeah, I definitely think. Sorry. I definitely think that at outreach events, making sure that you explain to any interested girls who come over that you're looking for girls on the team and that they'd be welcome to do anything that they're interested. Try to, you know, connect with some girls, because I know in like my experiences doing outreaches, when you start talking to other people and asking them about their interests and asking them about their experience with robotics or in something STEM related, it can sort of make them feel more comfortable with the concept and think of FTC or FIRST Robotics in general as a less foreign thing to them, as something maybe that they consider doing.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I would also suggest going out into your like local school and finding computer science classes or like physics classes and talking to them directly about the robot and showing it to them. And then afterwards, like following it up and like asking girls questions, like Madeline said, and just asking them about their interests and like trying to connect them back to FIRST and say, hey, if you're really interested in this, you'd be really great at this on our team. Okay, so it looks like we have one more comment in the chat by bots ls sticky 13. It says, I have only seen favoritism to girls. Do we have any reactions to this comment? All girls teams.
I think there can be a lot of perception of that within First, but that's not the case. It is possible that once or twice in all of the thousands of First teams in all of the events across the world, there has been that favoritism. But I think there isn't necessarily a lot of recognition of the struggle that both all girls teams and just girls on teams in general have to go through just to even possibly be recognized as equal. Something that my team experienced a lot when we were a co-ed team was judges would ask the boys about the robot and the girls about the outreach, even though it was very much everyone on the team was equally involved with both. And so while there may be a perception of that favoritism, it's not there. If girls teams are winning, it's because they have put in the work and earned it. If girls teams are doing well in judging, it's for the same reason. So I would say to really keep that in mind.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. I mean, I think a lot of times for our team, at least, we don't try to promote so much the more negative experiences we've had because we want to show First as a more welcoming community to girls. But we've definitely had experiences that are not so positive sometimes from really any group of people. So I think definitely, like Katie was saying, keep in mind that what you're seeing is only a little bit of what's actually happening.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that a lot of times you're seeing the positive stories that are coming out of all girls teams, but a lot of times girls aren't sharing those stories of the times that they, have been, their team has been like discriminated against because they're an all girls team, or, they've been taken less seriously because they're on an all girls team rather than one that's co-ed or all boys.
Yeah, I agree with that. Our team has definitely had some of those experiences too that we don't like to talk about all the time. But in our first year of FTC, our notebook got called like a scrapbook, and we've been asked like, why don't you have any boys on your team? Doesn't this make it like not equal? Isn't this what you're trying to fight? And I just don't think that a lot of other people see those things because they happen like not in public. So it's always good to just keep everything in perspective too.
Thank you to all of our co-executive producers, keeping fun loud, live, and independent. Pledge your support at patreon.com/first updates now.